Do you want to know if your lawyer happens to be a narcissist, or maybe it might be the other person's lawyer that's a narcissist? If you want to know the answer to whether or not that lawyer is a narcissist, check out this video and you'll find out the answer. Hi, I'm Rebecca Zung, and I have been recognized as one of the top 1% of attorneys in the country, and I've written a couple of best-selling books, Negotiate Like You Matter and Breaking Free, a Step-by-Step Divorce Guide. And what I do is I share my skills, the information that I've gained on how to become a master negotiator, and also my knowledge of narcissism, and I've combined them to help you be able to negotiate with narcissists in a way that you'll actually finally start to see movement, actually finally start to get somewhere without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars or years and years and years. And if that sounds good to you, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell, and that way you'll be right on top of all the best information. So let's talk about narcissists and lawyers. So lawyers can be narcissists just like anybody else can be a narcissist. And lawyers can be narcissists for other narcissists. And, basically they say 1 in 10 people are narcissists on the planet. And I tend to think it's actually a little bit more than that. But basically, anybody can be a narcissist. It's not, just that person that you happen to be married to or in a business relationship with or dealing with in your family or wherever it is that you're dealing with that narcissist. So my dad used to have this expression that the percentage of idiots per population is the same wherever you go. And I always thought that was really funny because it's so true. And so, obviously narcissists are attracted to positions where they will get a lot of respect and have a lot of people, adoring them and adulating them and all the things that narcissists like. So how do you know if the one that you're teamed up with happens to be a narcissist? I mean, narcissists tend to want to be in these positions, and they look good. They tend to be charismatic. They start off with love bombing you just the same as any narcissist does. So in the consultation, they might be love bombing you. They might be saying things to you like, oh my goodness, you're, remember, narcissists are very, very good at reading people. And if you want to know more about why narcissists are so good at reading people, make sure you check out my video on why narcissists are so good at reading people. But remember that they're experts at reading people. So, during the initial consultation, you might find them saying all the right things. They're promising you all of these amazing outcomes. They're looking at you and they're saying, yes, I can get this for you. And yes, oh, I can't believe you had to deal with that. And all of it sounds absolutely perfect in the initial consultation. I mean, you can contrast that with, how I always have done my initial consultations, which is, I'll tell you straight up, this is the law. We're going to go through. I mean, the way I do my initial consultations is you're going to tell me everything that's going on and how you ended up sitting in a chair in my office or on Zoom or talking to me in the first place. And then I go through, I tell you, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions and get some information from you. And then I tell you that I'm going to give you a short crash course in the law, and I'm going to apply the law to your particular situation and tell you kind of basically what I think your best and worst case scenarios are, just on a very 50,000 foot level, and kind of give you an idea of where you might stand. And I certainly won't sugarcoat things. You know, if you are a person who makes $500,000 a year, your spouse makes zero, and you've been married for 25 years, you're probably looking at an alimony claim. And I'm certainly not going to sit there and tell you whatever it is that you want to hear. But sometimes in the initial consultation, a lawyer might tell you whatever it is that you want to hear in order to suck you into their web, into their lair. So, you know, be aware if you're hearing things that might sound a little too good to be true, where it all seems so perfect, then, you know, you might be being love bombed and you might be being sucked into a situation that in the end, you're not going to be so happy with. So the next thing that is going to happen is that they start to devalue you. So now they've said that all of these things are going to be happening, and the next thing you know is they're hard to reach, or they don't respond, or they tell you certain things that that didn't end up to be true, or they didn't tell you things that you should have known, they didn't explain things properly to you, and maybe they start making it your fault. You know, maybe they start saying things to you like, you know, you were the one who created that problem, or I told you from the beginning. Like maybe they're starting to gaslight you. Maybe they're starting to say, I told you that. I told you that that could never happen. And you're like, I know that that conversation never took place, you know, or maybe their integrity is off. You know, maybe they're starting to bill you for hours that they didn't not necessarily, you know, do the work for. But, you know, more importantly, I want you to look for red flags like that they were, you know, telling you things, promising you things, future faking, you know, oh, in the future, this is going to happen and here's how it's going to go. And then it never really comes to fruition, gaslighting you by saying things are going to happen and they don't, devaluing you by, you know, minimizing the things that you're saying. Maybe you're telling them that something happened. Maybe you're telling them that something is true and they don't believe you. You don't feel supported by them. I mean, that none of that is going to be good. And if this sounds familiar to you and this sounds really like something that you've dealt with, I want you to write, I need a good lawyer in the comments. Okay, so when you're dealing with your lawyer, you should feel like they are communicating with you. You should feel like these are the things that, you know, if they're important to you, that you're being heard. So, and I have another video actually on signs it's time to fire your lawyer, and you might want to check that out too. This is a little bit of a separate thing, but obviously if your lawyer is a narcissist, it might be a time to fire that lawyer. So, but if you're feeling devalued, if you're feeling gaslighted, or gaslit, I don't know if this that what the word is, but if you're feeling like you're not being heard, if they're not responding to you, if you're you know, they're future faking you, or they're projecting, you know, they're not taking responsibility for their actions. They are saying it was somebody else's fault that something didn't get done. Maybe they miss a deadline or something, and you're like, hey, what the hell? And they're blaming it on other people. You know, I know for me, like I've had times where my staff has missed deadlines on filing things on time, and I've had to straight up say to the client, that is something that happened. My paralegal, you know, didn't file it on time, but she's under my reign, and so it's my responsibility. And you know, I've had to like give credit on the bill to the client for it, and eat that, which really didn't make me happy, because you know, now I'm not so happy with this paralegal, right? But that's what I had to do in order to let the client know that I'm taking responsibility and that they matter to me, and because I valued them as a client, we were going to take steps to make amends. Hey, lawyers are people too. Obviously, not everybody is perfect. There's going to be times that things happen that you don't like or whatever. And certainly lawyers cannot guarantee any outcome. So anytime you have a lawyer who's guaranteeing you an outcome, definitely run the other direction, because, we as lawyers are mortal human beings and we can only do the best that we can. And sometimes things don't always go the way that we want them to, or the way we think they should, or the way, it seems like they should. So, but just make sure that you feel like they're on your side, they're doing the things that they're supposed to do. And those little red flags that pop up, the little hairs on the back of your neck are like, you feel it in your gut, right? It's the same thing that you feel with any narcissist when you're in a situation like that. That you feel those red flags, you know that they're there, you feel it in your gut. And if that's what's happening for you, then it might be time for you to move on and find a different lawyer, because that lawyer is never going to have your best interests at heart. Narcissists are narcissists, so they're only going to have their own interests at heart, their own situation, not anything about you. And so you don't want that to happen to you. So if you're paying all this money to a person, you need to have somebody who's going to be on your side and part of the overall strategy that you are going to be creating, hopefully through my Slay program, or just even through watching my videos and taking the tips that I'm giving you here. So if you are getting ready to negotiate with a narcissist or with anybody, make sure to grab my free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet at winmynegotiation.com. And also come join me in my free private Facebook group for more support at Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. And if you like this video, like it, share it, drop me a comment, and make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'm so glad that you stopped by today. Never lose heart, never give up, never give in. And remember that today is a great day to start negotiating your best life, and I will see you in the next video.